use all of the powers of the federal government, including the emergency powers of the federal government, to accelerate the major projects that we need in order to build this economy and take on the Americans. And something that...
Look at that smirk. We'll just get right into the swing of things. More 51st state talk and the fentanyl crisis. So Liberal leadership candidate Mark Carney has been on his little tour, and he made a stop in Kelowna. I think this was yesterday, where he takes aim at the U.S. So this article here comes from Maple Ridge Pit Meadows News. And it notes here that Mark Carney drew cheers and applause from a crowd of more than 300 party faithful during a quick stop in Kelowna on Tuesday morning. So sorry, this was actually, yes, so yesterday. I don't know, the picture to me here looks like perhaps there wasn't 300 people, but maybe they were just coming and going. And one of the biggest cheers came when he addressed the U.S. tariff threat. He says, in a crisis, plan beats no plan. Okay. We have a plan for Canada that is going to deliver the strongest economy and ride out the Americans until they come back to the table. There's a lot of yellow and red flags here for me. He says Americans have lost their way and have forgotten about the big hits and squeezes on the middle class. I think that's the exact class that Trump and all of his executive orders are trying to bring back and reignite, right, and help and assist by bringing manufacturing home, by cutting the bureaucratic bloat and waste through the new DOGE Department of Government Efficiency, overseen by Elon Musk. I mean, there's all these things that Trump is doing and handling and implementing to help the middle class. And so this isn't, I don't think, going to hit the U.S. where it hurts, as Carney's alleging, so much as it's going to affect Canadians. We have a clip here, though, where Carney says point blank that he is going to abuse the emergency powers of the federal government to build green energy projects and take on the Americans. Look at this.
Yep.
Use all of the powers of the federal government, including the emergency powers of the federal government, to accelerate the major projects that we need in order to build this economy and take on the Americans. And something that...
Look at that smirk.
Yeah, I was one of the rare, I see now that Canada Proud has picked it up, but I was one of the rare people on this planet who was remotely interested in what Mark Carney was saying when he was in Kelowna. I braved that appearance, despite my fears that he would be draining my life force with his monotony. Well, Monotone Mark was talking in Kelowna, and he was talking about, like, we need all these like green projects to insulate us from the Americans. And you can really see the Mark momentum in that room. Everyone's like, whoa, it's like extremely undercaffeinated people. But he just sort of thought it was the most clever thing he ever said, that he said use, but it would be an abuse to use the emergency powers of the federal government to push forward these green energy projects. And then he turns and sort of smirks at the camera because he thinks it's the cleverest thing he's ever said, and to take on the Americans, not, like fight the threat of tariffs, but to actually like take on the Americans, the people themselves, which I thought was quite an odd thing to say, but excessively tone deaf. Kelowna is a very conservative place, by the way. It's the interior of BC, which may as well be Alberta. And he's telling them that these people, a lot of them participated in the Freedom Convoy, which was resulted in the invocation of the government's emergency powers illegally. And he's promising to disregard all that and do it all again this time so that we can have, I don't know, tariff lockdowns, climate lockdowns. Like, what's next, Mark? What are you going to do?
Yeah, I was going to say, enjoy your carbon lockdowns, everyone, where you'll stay home and you'll be happy.
Yeah.
It sounds like Trudeau's, we've reused this clip so many times, and I don't know if it's handy, but I'm sure most of our viewers have seen it, where Trudeau is saying in front of a group of old liberal women that he loves, or he admires rather, China's basic dictatorship. And this is just that kind of recycled. It's that 2.0, I think, where you're going to give people the hammer of a totalitarian regime by utilizing emergency powers to push forward your ideological goals and your ideological agendas. It's China's basic dictatorship 2.0.
Oh, hi, it's Ezra Levant here in Toronto with an important message because we need your help. Independent journalism in Canada is under attack. Government censors, big tech deplatformers, and the dying legacy media are all working together to maintain exclusive control on the information you receive. They don't want you to hear other voices like ours, and they really don't want you to be informed and to think for yourself. That's why the work we do here at Rebel News is so important. Our on-the-ground reporting, independent news shows, and special content you won't find anywhere else. It's all designed to give you trustworthy information and alternative viewpoints so you can decide for yourself. We don't get government money, and we are not owned by some big global conglomerate. We're funded by people just like you, so please support independent journalism and help us continue our work by subscribing and becoming a Rebel News Plus member today, right here on the page. Go to rebelnewsplus.com.